everyone. Welcome to another episode of BFF, a show where two best friends review movies because fan friction. We're your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm Joe.
And we're in episode 2 of our Backlog.
Correct.
Ashley's Choice Month.
Yep.
And tonight's selection is Ed Wood.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the theme for this month is things that I chose to actually fight for that I had never seen prior to actually fighting for it on fan friction.
I blame Jack.
Why you blame him?
Because he's the one that put these questions forth that we had no choice.
Well, originally I was going to go for Edward Scissorhands because our question was about best Johnny Depp / Tim Burton collab.
Correct.
And of course, Edward Scissorhands is the correct answer.
No. Yeah.
But Edward Scissorhands was chosen by Kimber first. And, well, Kimber and I basically have the same opinions about a lot of things. So I figured I wasn't going to get Edward Scissorhands.
Popular movie.
So I looked at all of the scores for the other Johnny Depp / Tim Burton collabs on the Rotten Tomatoes website because I wasn't going to go with other things I had seen, like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake. So I saw that Ed Wood had the highest rating. I think it was at 92%. So I was like, I'm going to just place my bet on this and cross my fingers and hope that I get Edward Scissorhands. And it didn't. So I was like, okay.
So we're going to go watch this movie.
Yeah, and again, I'm looking really forward to rewatching it. So I cannot wait to talk about it in the second segment.
Yep.
But yeah. All right, bye.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's fun, and possibly the greatest part about it is the quirkiness of this movie is punctuated by how awkward everyone is.
Yeah.
And how awkward the scenes are, but it's all taken in stride like it's just part of what it's supposed to be.
I would like to say that this is probably the most normal character that Johnny Depp has ever played in a Tim Burton film.
One could argue Ichabod's a little more normal than Ed Wood.
That accent, though.
Well, I don't. That's not the character. That's his portrayal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's.
Well, okay, one of the more normal.
Yeah, no, but no, it's one of those situations where if I was comparing Ichabod and Ed Wood here, I mean, it's like neck and neck.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is Ed Wood was a real person.
Ichabod Crane wasn't a real person?
Don't do this. But yeah, he was. It is one of the more normal roles, I think.
It's not because he's not doing like a weird accent.
To me, the part that makes it weird and abnormal is how all this terrible stuff around him is happening, and he's just got this face of like.
He's always very chipper. Yeah, it's a good impression of his facial expression. Like, no matter what's happening, Bela Lugosi is, basically addicted to morphine and methadone and.
Yeah, and it's all these little things that happen, like his marriage is falling apart. He's like, well, gee golly, dear. I'm just like, people don't talk like that in real life. People didn't talk like that in real life.
In the 60s?
50s
and 60s?
It wasn't a thing.
Yeah, other than just the constant cheerfulness, I would definitely still say probably one of the more normal Depp characters.
Yes.
And the whole thing with him dressing as a woman, I mean, that's all based off of Ed Wood's real life, so that's not weird.
No, it's not. And it's not weird in general. It's the only thing that would make it even mildly weird is the not commonality of it happening in the 60s. But even then, that's not a big deal. It's just, I mean, it happened.
Yeah.
So.
And I thought that they actually were very sensitive to not only that idea in the film, considering when the film was made in, 94?
Yeah.
And then also how they treated the other gay and...
like Bunny and...
characters and such.
It was a very progressive film for its time.
Mm-hmm.
But I chalk that up kind of to who wrote, directed, and the character it was about.
I don't think Tim Burton wrote the script for this, but
wrote,
yeah,
directed, everyone involved in the process.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's either you make the movie, you make him and his life in a bad light, or you make him and his life in a good light. And it felt like they were trying to make him and his life in a good light.
Yeah, definitely a positive portrayal of Ed Wood.
A very artistic and quirky portrayal, because he was an artistic and quirky person.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know. But that's the thing, though. Those are things Ed Wood cared about. Those people and the life that he built with all these other people that were in his films, and is just everything about Ed Wood, things he was passionate about. That's one thing as a person Ed Wood was passionate. And this movie really pulls that through. Like everything he doesn't just like half-a anything. He gives 110%.
Even
for the things
if
he cares about.
Even if it feels like to other people, he's just like, no, we got it. Let's move on. Don't you want to take another take? No, we're good.
Because
that's just his style.
To him, you're not going to get the same performance out of that first take. And sometimes that first take, maybe he would do other takes every once in a while. But if he saw a take that he liked, he kept the take.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually seen any actual Ed Wood films. I've read about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Plan 9 from Outer Space is notorious for being, if not the worst, one of the worst films ever made. And I love what he said when he's watching the movie at the premiere. This is the one I'll be remembered for. And he's so happy. And just a lot of this movie, just because as the audience watching it, they're assuming you're familiar with Ed Wood's career. It's like so much dramatic irony. Because yes, you will be remembered for that one.
Maybe not the way you want to, though, man.
And then,
or maybe the way he'd be happy to nowadays, because there are people that derive a lot of love from his work.
I think you can definitely see that as the way they portrayed Ed Wood, that like he genuinely loved filmmaking. Like he wanted to be like Orson Welles, his hero.
Mm-hmm.
He just does not have half the talent that Orson Welles has.
Or the voice.
Yeah. So I liked a lot of the stylistic choices that Burton made with this film, especially choosing to film in black and white. I think that was the best aesthetic choice that he could make. Because it really kind of captured the
feel of the time.
Yeah, definitely the feel of the time, and that's the way a lot of I think all of the Ed Wood films, especially from that era that they've encapsulated, were all filmed in black and white because it would have been cheaper back then. I believe.
Yeah, it would have. Not only cheaper, but just probably easier. Not nearly as much, because I think at that point that we saw Technicolor around then, right?
Oh, definitely, yes.
So that was the predominant way, and that cost so much money. So the only movies that you still see nowadays in glorious Technicolor that still exist are from that era are like your big budget, like biblical thrillers or movies along those lines, or some of the musicals.
Yeah, more mainstream movies would be in Technicolor. Because that's been around since like the late 30s.
Yeah, but in general, it just was such a fantastic movie. And like we talked about this back when we first saw this movie. I want to say at the beginning of this year, but it's all blending together when we went and saw Hail Caesar.
Yeah,
how that movie was kind of a love letter to Hollywood of that era, and this also has that feel that it's very much a love letter to not only Ed Wood but how Hollywood was around then.
Yeah, especially if you were more of an independent director, and the hustle that you had to do to get your movies financed, and having to deal with people that you might not normally associate yourself with. Like, I love the scene where he's in the bar, depressed over trying to finance his movie, and then there's this naive young girl. Oh, I love Hollywood so much. Oh, I'm sorry, is it okay if I pay with a 50? I just came back from my banker. And he's like, hello lady. And then she's very, very naive. It's like, oh, that doesn't sound like a lot of money at all to make a movie. I'll finance your movie. And then to come to find out that she really only had $300, and he thought she was going to bankroll the whole production for like $60,000.
Oh man.
But yes, that And then having to work with the Beverly Hills Baptist Church to try to make his movie and
Plan 9 from Outer Space of all movies.
Yes. And they were making all these production choices, and it's like, but this is my movie. It's like, yes, but we're paying for this movie, which they kind of had a point.
They did.
But yeah, the portrayal of Ed Wood is this kind of like hustler, I guess. Like, oh.
Well, like a well-meaning hustler.
Yeah, like definitely genuine, like, but I'm going to use you to get what I want. But again, not portrayed in a way that, like, where he was smarmy or like seedy or anything. Like, you just get the image that this is just a good guy, that he wants to do well,
and he knows he's gonna have to do anything he has to,
and he wants to get all of his creative ideas out there, but just nobody will listen to him.
Well, and then there's times too where he wanted to make a movie so Bella would have a job.
Yeah, like helping out Bella.
So I mean, Ed Wood's a good guy, and they portray him as such in the movie, and it's just, all in all, it's a fun movie. I'm not going to put it in like my top 10 movies of all time, but I really enjoyed it. There's not a lot about this movie I could complain about.
Yeah, no, and when I first saw it earlier this year, again, because I chose it kind of as a second tier to Edward Scissorhands, and I was like, okay, I know it says one thing on Rotten Tomatoes, but that doesn't always mean anything. And once I started watching the movie, I was like, oh, thank God this movie actually is good.
I kind of like this movie a little more than Edward Scissorhands, because even though it's still goofy and quirky and weird, but it's more heartfelt and honest. Like, it feels like it's this director and this actor and everyone else involved in this movie, like trying to pay homage to an actor or a director that they all love. Like, they love this character.
Yeah, they love Ed Wood, even though his movies are known for being not the best.
He's not UA Bowl.
Yeah.
You talking about his movies like they're just like these piles of refuse. No, they're not. They're quirky and imaginative and weird, and movies that you would never have seen around that time. And they were movies that he did a lot with little, and he did stuff for these people. He made people actors that would never have thought about being actors, and it allowed us to see through the lens of Ed Wood's love that anybody can do this if they feel passionate about it and if they have fun with it.
Some of the other filmmaking choices I liked, just of portraying Hollywood, it's like where they're like, oh no, it's the cops. Oh no, we don't have a permit. Let's everybody jet.
One of my favorites was the live show Ed got Bella a job for.
Yes.
And Bella's just sitting there confused because he's never done live television. And he doesn't understand ad-libbing.
Yeah, the comedian's ad-libbing and he doesn't know where to take the line, and it's just so awkward.
Painfully so.
And then, Vampira, I guess.
Yep.
Those eyebrows.
Made you look surprised.
She looked very mad all the time. And when Ed Wood is desperately trying to, like, hey, just come over and, like, talk to these guys. Like, please just make me look good. And she's like, I've got to go. Bye. And they're like, oh, no, we're not going to finance this movie.
Right.
Poor Ed. I felt so bad for him. But again, he just had such a spirit about him where it's like nothing ever let him down.
Yep.
Another choice I really liked about the movie was focusing on like one slice of Ed Wood's life versus trying to go how some biopics will go, where it's like, here's childhood Ed Wood. Let's see what his father and mother were like, and him getting dressed up in the little girl outfits by his mom because she wanted a girl, and now here's teenage Ed Wood being bullied at school, I would presume. I don't know. I bet he did. Especially
wartime Ed Wood.
Yeah, what did he do when he was in the service and worrying about being found out? And then let's look at his life after Plan 9 from Outer Space when he was making highly inappropriate movies that we can't really talk about on this show, but look his career up, people.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's some pretty bad stuff.
But still.
So yeah, I like it how it's just like, okay, it would start off with this play that there's nobody in the audience.
Couple of little, like
there's like 3 people.
The copyright person for that one.
The copy editor. Yeah. And then he was so positive, like, look, the costumes were realistic. That's something. They don't talk about the costumes in other stuff.
It's like, well, that's because they're just looking for something good.
Yeah, they're trying to find something nice to say, and then focusing on him trying to get these movies made, like Glenn or Glenda, and some of the other ones where he worked with Bela Lugosi, and then capstoning it with Plan 9 from Outer Space, because that is the most famous / infamous film he's known for. Pretty sure it's in my movie book that's hiding behind our little fight game. Fight game, yes, our fight game.
I don't know. It's a beautiful movie. It is. It's
a lot of good stylistic choices. I really like the score from Howard Shore. He did a good job. Mm-hmm. This was in a period when apparently Elfman and Burton were not on speaking terms, so it was like they got like the best version of like what sounds like a Elfman score, but it wasn't like the third cousin writing it this time.
It wasn't pay it forward.
No.
But yeah, for me, I would probably rank it like 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
Yeah, because of the ones we've seen, it's the best because it doesn't have a lot of really weird Burton tropes, and it doesn't have like Johnny Depp playing some quirky, weird, odd character that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And
it's okay if they're a real person that's odd.
And at the end of the day, it just feels like they're just trying to tell this story about someone that matters to them, more than one person that matters to them, because Bela Lugosi's involved too, and all sorts of other stuff, and it just doesn't feel like it's trying to sell us weird leathery clothing and
not a lot of Hot Topic pop figures for Ed Wood.
Those should be.
I would buy them.
But what about you?
I think I'd probably go a 9 out of 10. There were a few like choices in the movie where I was like, why are we doing this? Like one of the scenes in particular where it's the rap party for one of the films where his girlfriend breaks up with him and he's doing that weird dance and like it's him.
Yeah.
He's wearing the Angora sweater and he's got the
shawl, the
veil and the shawl, and he takes off his shirt and he's wearing a bikini top or whatever, and it's like, why is this in the movie? I'm assuming this really happened, but is this necessary to tell the story? Couldn't she have gotten mad about something else?
Anything else?
And then, I guess it's important for us to know what happened to all the characters at the end, but that kind of just felt really cheap. When they did the Ed Wood went on to do this.
Like a dragnet style thing.
Yeah, Vampira went on to do this. Bela Lugosi never returned from the dead. Well, no, duh. That felt very cheap.
That didn't bother me as much because that feels very LA.
It wasn't perfect, but very enjoyable film. Definitely a film everyone should see, especially if you are into the art of filmmaking or a history. A very interesting director that obviously doesn't get a lot of love because he's not a Spielberg or Orson Welles. We kind of forget about the B movie directors of yesteryear, but those are important movies too because that was a genre.
Yeah. And one could argue he kind of made that genre what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to pause so that we can review the fan friction footage and see me get my butt handed to me by Kimber, because I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
You did good.
All right. That was interesting.
You were so tired.
I felt really bad that day. And a funny thing that we talked about pre-fight that I remember, Kimber was trying to go for like an undead look, and I had made a comment about like I was just trying to not look dead, so because I felt dead, because I did not feel well that morning, and Kimber's makeup looked really awesome. She's very talented.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the question that we were trying to fight was... Round 1 Newsies, Alice Through the Looking Glass is set to release in theaters May 27th, marking the 9th collaboration of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. Which was their best? And so I obviously chose Ed Wood from 1994.
Yep. And Kimber chose Edward Scissorhands
from 1990.
And Raoul chose
Sleepy Hollow from 1999. Like, I was desperate. Like, I wanted to pick, as Raoul had said, the safe choice, Edward Scissorhands. The only choice, as Kimber said, because...
Also, as Jack said.
Yes, I mean, because it is to me, the best collaboration. And
well, it's the purest. Because it is a movie that Tim Burton wrote,
yes,
directed, cared about.
And as Kimber pointed out, like, Johnny Depp had to audition for that role.
Yep.
So, like, he didn't get it on the merit of being Johnny Depp, and because, he had been in some other things, like not Nightmare Before. It
was the catalyst of their chemistry.
Yeah, like, because he was in Elm Street, he was in 21 Jump Street. There was a perception...
He likes streets.
Yeah, he did like streets.
Streets Ahead.
Oh, Lord, Streets Ahead is not a thing, Pierce.
Oh, but it should be a thing.
It's not a thing, Pierce.
Stop it.
6 seasons in a movie. But yeah, I had to break out of that bubble of what people thought he was. So yeah, she had a lot of great points about, that this was always Tim Burton's movie. It wasn't something like in Sleepy Hollow or in Ed Wood where he was not the first choice for director and written by someone else based off of some other property. So yeah, she had a lot of excellent points. I definitely think that she deserved to win the round, but man, I was, going to try my hardest to try to win that point away from her. And so the fun things I had to say, I talked about how the film was critically praised, but audience-wise, not so great. It did not make a lot of money.
That's kind of, I agree with that sentiment because, like, my favorite movie kind of falls into that category.
Yeah. I talked about, and then this a little later on in the argument, really, then my desperation to try to win the point about how this movie was ahead of its time, especially with the LGBT issues and such. And then going against what the studio wanted with the whole choice of shooting it in black and white.
Yep.
And I said some things like, just because it was their first collaboration, going back to...
doesn't make it their best.
Yeah, doesn't make it the best. That was pure lies.
Well,
I
kind of agree with that sentiment to me.
Yeah.
But my mentality on it is that when you get to movies like Ed Wood, by that point... they've built up a rapport, and you can work with an actor and director that have built up a rapport really well. And I don't know. I like Ed Wood better than Edward Scissorhands. I
think they're both really good films. I definitely think personally that the better collab is the first one. I was definitely kind of blowing some hot air with the first is not always the best. And because in some cases that does ring true, but I think in this case...
Captain America movies.
Yeah, so again, some cases it rings true. In this case, that I think it really is the best collab, even though I really do think it did start a bad trend.
Oh, yeah.
Of the other movies with the quirky characters.
You take the good with the bad.
That's true.
And I will stand by that, like, while I really enjoyed Tim Burton's movies for the most part, I kind of put Tim Burton in a similar category as Quentin Tarantino to me, where, like, I like little tidbits here and there, but I just don't get the appeal overall.
Okay. Because
it's just hard to wrap my brain around. But that's me, and I'm obviously not the target audience of his storytelling methods. So.
Yeah. And then my favorite line of the whole episode, and Jack also liked this line, was that their two movies were Hot Topic fodder.
Yeah. You throw in Nightmare Before Christmas, and you put it in a blender, and you have a store producer. Now also add in, like, outdated metal tees and anime shirts and Doctor Who memorabilia.
Of course, I actually like going to Hot Topic,
I do
but
too.
Yeah,
we're as basic as they come.
But yeah, just over the, I definitely do think that there's a lot of over the top qualities of, especially Edward Scissorhands. But there's even some over the top stuff upon looking at Ed Wood a second time, especially with his whole "I'm always so happy." Like, yeah, maybe it is a little more over the top than I originally gave it credit to. But when you're trying to defend your point, you gotta Gotta, try to do the best you can.
I'll take Xanax and the Blood Cheerful over artificially created human in the 1980s any day of the week.
Yeah, and
as far as like what's considered over the top.
Yes. And then we really were like hurting poor little Raul's choice. I love that we all picked the first 3 collaborations they did, and they're all from the 90s.
Yep.
So it's kind of like you kind of think of it as after Sleepy Hollow is when it really started to go downhill.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were really just like nailing his choices. Like, this is bland and doesn't even feel.
And I enjoyed Sleepy Hollow and thought it was really good, but some of the points that you guys made. Not necessarily yours, dear, with the language thing, because nobody cares.
I care. Accents are important, and those accents were inconsistent. Nobody had the same one.
Okay, so you're going to complain about that, yeah. But the fact that like Romans in 1950s and 1960s movies speak with like a nice British style accent.
As long as it's consistent.
But it wasn't.
As long as no one's accent was the same in that movie.
Well, they're from different parts. Okay,
and
you can go into the multilingual concepts of how America was in the 18 and 17 and early 1900s because they were different.
But nobody talked that way. The accent they're using in that movie wasn't invented till later. And does anybody even know what Johnny Depp's real accent is anymore? How far do we have to go back?
I think Johnny Depp's real accent is been drinking and at the jazz show. But no, I digress. I really enjoyed Sleepy Hollow when we watched it. Mm-hmm. The only real argument that I was like, yeah, totally on board with that concept is that Christopher Walken was woefully underutilized in that movie. Mm-hmm. I think Christopher Walken is a national treasure. And if you've ever seen the Prophecy movies, I think they are.
Yeah.
He's glorious.
But yeah, the round wasn't about Christopher Walken. It was about Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. So as we stated earlier, Kimber won the round with Jack, but he seemed to kind of be going back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think I gave her a run for her money, so to speak. But the poll was a different story. When Tom read the results, I was a little shocked that Ed Wood got any points.
Well, I was shocked. I wasn't shocked that Ed Wood got any points. I was shocked that Sleepy Hollow didn't get any.
Yeah, so Sleepy Hollow had 0% on the poll at the time the results were read. Ed Wood got 29%, and Edward Scissorhands ran away with it at 79%. All right, and I have show notes from that episode. So this is where my show notes got a little more organized. I had learned from all the fact checking to put things into columns for easy access.
Easy reading.
Initially, Ed Wood was in development with Columbia, but when Burton decided he wanted to shoot the film in black and white, studio head Mark Canton would not agree to it unless Columbia was given a first look deal. And Burton said black and white was right for the material and the movie, and this was a movie that had to be in black and white.
Can you imagine if that other director had done it and it wasn't in black and white?
That would be a weird movie to not do in black and white. I can't imagine it any other way.
I also don't think the movie would have captured the essence of the character nearly as well. But yeah, it doesn't feel like he's being weird just to be weird. It feels like that's just part of who Ed Wood was.
Yeah.
Eccentric Hollywood director type who was passionate about his art.
Mm-hmm.
Much like I'm pretty sure at one point Tim Burton was. Yeah,
and then I had kind of made a connection to that during the fight, saying that, even though he didn't make the film, that, there's probably something that he saw in Ed Wood that maybe he saw in himself, so.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day.
I don't think he would have taken the film if he wasn't okay with the project or didn't care about it at least a little. I mean, he made a point of needing to make that movie black and white.
Yeah.
And like I said, the movie wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't.
Yes. So going back to what we normally do is we rank the choice against the question, and I'm going to actually rank myself this time, but I want to hear how you'd rank me first.
I'm going to go 9 out of 10, if only because it's a 1-point loss due to like tactical reasoning. And I know in hindsight, you've already said you would have chosen the movie, but I think you were left with a really good choice. That was a strong choice. It's definitely the best second choice you could have made.
Yeah.
But yeah, Granted, that 1 point isn't even fair. It's not fair to rate it 9 out of 10, but I'm going to. Mostly because you had no option but to use this movie.
Yeah, I'm also going to give myself 9 out of 10 because I wanted to argue for Edward Scissorhands, and I think I did at least pick the second best movie. Sorry, Raul. I love you. He did a good job arguing, too. He's a very good fighter.
And honestly, Sleepy Hollow is a great movie. It's not as good as Edward Scissorhands or Ed Wood, but it is a good movie. It's a lot of fun, and it's enjoyable. It's muddy and messed up. But I'm going to argue that most Tim Burton, Johnny Depp collaborations are, because, like, even to me, Edward Scissorhands suffers from some weird pacing issues.
Well, there's a reason why I went with a film I had never seen before versus the only other one I had seen, which was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because literally those were the two movies I had seen out of the list, and I was like, nope, I am not choosing that.
Did Tim Burton do Sweeney Todd?
Yes, but again,
that's such a fun movie. You remember Jersey Girl, right?
But I looked at the rankings, and I went, there's a movie that has a high ranking. I'm going to put my bet on that because I know I'm going to lose Edward Scissorhands. I just knew it. Yeah. I had a sliver of hope that I wouldn't lose it. And I did. Because she got her answers in faster. I don't know how Jack decides it, coin flip or something.
Whatever.
I would be interested to know like what their second choices were, because I don't remember. We probably talked about it, but yeah. So guys, let me know what your second choices were, because I know both of you are watching. Did you just love the show so much?
Wow. That's the most clinically narcissistic thing I think you've ever said.
Oh, the whole month is about me. Of course I'm a narcissist.
Oh, God.
You know how much long I spend doing my makeup for this show?
Yes, about as long as you spend it getting ready for work.
Actually, a lot longer than I do to get to work. I don't try for work.
But,
So, now I guess we should look at Twitter.
All right, so the question is, we want to know who your favorite Johnny Depp character is.
Yeah, we wanted to broaden it out to more than just Tim Burton roles because there's lots of Johnny Depp characters.
Yep, we don't want to limit you just to 14. We want to limit you to a much larger pool that I can't even think of at the moment.
Ben McElroy said Jack Sparrow is his best and worst role by far.
I can agree to that.
I think that one really started the trend of the Johnny Depp weird characters.
At least it got him a lot of public notice.
Yeah. Amy Awesome said Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas always.
Yeah. I need to see that movie.
Yeah, I have not seen that one.
Holmesy at Holmesy_83 says Donnie Brasco. Again, something I need to see.
Yeah, I've not seen that. Colin Murr also says Ed Wood. That one made me truly realize the range he had.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Michael Atkinson at Bantha_Milk. Love that name. It was really Jack Sparrow until he wore out his welcome. That's fair. So Sands from Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Cool choice.
Kimber suggested...
your esteemed adversary.
Yeah. I love Kimber. Really do. She's awesome. She is my brain twin and my soul sister. But, you know, it's tough fighting your family.
Tough fam.
Yes. She said, I adore him in Benny and June.
Also a movie I've never seen. I need to. All right, so TJ Dex at TJ Dex, fantastic, say Ed Wood or Gilbert, most 90s roles. Other than that, he's been doing the same shtick since Pirates. And I
definitely agree. Bill Carriola at Coupe de Bill says Donnie Brasco all day. Also my favorite Pacino role, so it's a double whammy.
Nice. So the Chewbacca defense at Chewbacca defense, love it. I think I have to go with Crybaby because it introduced me to him. Blow and Fear and Loathing were close second and third, though. Okay, so those are the tweets.
Yes, we didn't have to edit out a huge chunk of the show because we got into a huge fight at all.
Tangents. Yeah, in general, you did good. You went up against someone with a 45 with a 22, and You don't bring a pea shooter to a hand cannon fight.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our levels in WoW or something. You're talking about guns.
I'm talking about guns.
That's not nice.
Well, I mean...
Guns are illegal in some places. So, yeah, that was Twitter.
Yep, that was Twitter.
That was a fight.
That was a fight. You did your best.
Hey, I won the episode.
You did win
That's
the
like
episode.
the only episode I've ever won. And then I felt bad for winning the episode, and then I realized I had to be on another episode. And I was like, oh crap, I have to fight Brian now? He's like the best fighter. And Hector is like professional. Anyway, that's been us. Bye.
Hey, we have a viewer's choice. Also, movies we need to watch and maybe do videos for. We got the viewer's choice coming up.
Well, right now we're kind of married to the whole we watched it because fan friction thing, but who knows what the summertime will bring.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, viewer's choice will be coming up soon. We'll be getting those polls up probably at the beginning of the year.
We could even call them like BBFF because fan friction.
I don't know if we want to get that meta.
Why not?
Too much meta.
There's no such thing as
too many
much
fourth
meta.
wall breaks.
Oh, no, we're not. No, it's not like we're Deadpool here. We're not legitimately breaking the fourth wall with yellow word bubbles.
We could. I could put those in the video.
But you don't want to.
Well,
look, why don't we go full-blown meta here and have our magic missile augmented with 8 levels of meta magic feats, and then we're super meta'd out, and we're using a 9th level spell slot for a magic missile spell.
And there goes our last viewer.
No. We got, like, Tom would get that joke.
Okay.
I hope.
Otherwise you can't be friends anymore?
No, someone's got to laugh at it.
Because I don't know what you're talking about.
You kind of know.
I know what magic missile is. You attack the darkness with it, duh.
You know what meta magic feats are.
No, I don't.
It's been forever.
I don't remember.
They augment magic spells by increasing their spell level slot they take up, but they give them special effects like still or silent spell or maximize spell or quicken spell, and you're a jerk. Okay? You're a jerk.
I'm a jerk?
You're a real jerk.
I'm a jerk.
I mean, a quicken, maximized, intensified magic missile would be pretty intense, and it would take up a 9th level spell slot.
Okay, you can never argue about me talking about the way people talk in different time periods.
I did. I've already gotten that. I mean, we're past that now.
Never
I'm never going to do it again.
Never again can you make fun of me for talking about people's accents not matching or speaking in the wrong accent that didn't exist.